trimming is essential for roadway safety. ODOT crews remove or trim trees in the right-of-way that could be struck by vehicles leaving their lane, or shed limbs onto the pavement following storms.
If we can get enough sunlight to a roadway, it will actually preserve the pavement longer in Ohio. We want more sun on the pavement. That way when we're fighting snow and ice in the wintertime, it melts off the ice and the snow a lot easier if there's no canopy over top of the roadway.
To reduce stress on trees and avoid disturbing wildlife, most work typically occurs in the fall and winter. ODOT crews often cut trees and brush in tough terrain such as deep ditches, steep backslopes, and tight spaces where equipment can't always reach. Using the right mix of tools and machinery helps crews safely manage these hazards and maintain the right-of-way. Mechanized trimmers, such as the Kershaw Sky Trim, can reach 75 feet and allow operators to work safely from inside the cab. Highway technicians also have access to specialized machines that can grab, cut, and lay down trees in one controlled process, improving efficiency and safety. Trimming or mulching heads mounted on excavators can reach over 50 feet with a full 360-degree swing. For smaller jobs, highway technicians use traditional chainsaws for precise cutting. Crews are reminded to check across their districts for available resources, as highway technicians may be able to borrow specialized equipment as needed. Together, these tools allow crews to safely manage vegetation even on slopes, near guardrails, and within ditches. The first step in a tree trimming job is a thorough pre-trip inspection. Inspect the vehicle using ODOT's EM78 HE Vehicle Pre-Trip Inspection Form and Aerial Lift Daily Inspection Checklist. Check harnesses, tethers, and lanyards. Inspect the basket for cracks or damage. Inspect trimmers and chainsaws for loose, worn, or broken parts. Confirm proper chain tension, bar condition, and a functioning chain brake. Make sure the chain is sharp. A dull chain increases fatigue and slows cutting. Ensure your PPE is ready to go. You'll need a hard hat equipped with a face shield, safety glasses, cut retardant chaps, safety boots, gloves, hearing protection, and a high-visibility safety vest. And finally, create a communication plan.
Always go out prepared with a communication plan with the operators and the cutters that you've done that in advance. If everybody's working together, talking, they all have a plan, they have the proper hand signals, the gestures, the communication equipment, everybody's going to go home safely.
Arrive on site with your PPE. After putting on your PPE, complete a worksite hazard assessment to identify and address potential risks. Establish clear zones and safe retreat paths so the crew can avoid injury from falling limbs or trunk sections, and ensure all ground personnel remain alert and outside these restricted areas. Assess the health of the tree carefully, watching for dead or broken limbs, signs of rot, cracks, or embedded metal that may indicate instability and hidden hazards. Treat all overhead lines as energized at all times and do not cut trees that are within 20 feet of a line.
When we have a problem with a hazard tree that's near an electric line, we can usually reach out to that electric company and they'll come out and help us get that tree down. Sometimes they'll take care of it by themselves. Sometimes we assist if it's more of a problem for us than it is them. So there's multiple different ways to deal with it.
Tree trimming cannot begin until the work zone is properly established. Set up traffic control using cones, signage, and trained flaggers per the Ohio Manual of Uniform Traffic Control Devices. Conduct a tailgate safety talk to review assignments, hazards, emergency procedures, and required PPE. Check with your survey department for right-of-way plans. These can typically be measured from the center line to the edge of the right-of-way. Mark berms with paint when distances exceed 30 feet. This helps define the work area and prevents encroachment onto private property. Assign a spotter as the operation's primary safety lead. The spotter monitors the entire work area, signals the cutter, coordinates with flaggers, maintains safe clearances, and can stop work at any time if unsafe conditions arise. Before cutting, the crew must carefully inspect each tree. Dead or weakened trees can be brittle and unpredictable, so they should not be dropped in one piece. Instead, buck them into smaller sections to prevent sudden or explosive breakage. Always ensure the bucket truck is positioned outside the tree's potential fall path. Also, be aware of kickback, which occurs when the chainsaw bar makes sudden contact with an object. Using proper cutting techniques and keeping the saw running at high RPMs significantly reduces the risk of kickback.
There could be wire, old fence, chains, cables. It's anything where that bar comes in contact or the tip of that bar, it causes a reaction on the saw itself to kick back at you. That's why you always want to have two hands on that saw, so when it kicks back, this hand hits the brake and locks the brake up so the chain can't cut you.
Hand tools like log rollers and skid steers with grapple attachments can help reposition or lift fallen trees during chainsaw work. This keeps the chainsaw bar from hitting the ground and relieves tension on the tree, reducing the chance of the bar getting pinched. To safely control how and where a tree falls, cutters rely on three key elements: the notch, the hinge, and the back cut. The notch should be cut on the leaning side of the tree and should extend approximately 1/3 of the tree's diameter. Use a conventional, Humboldt, or open-face notch aligned with the intended direction of the fall. The hinge should measure about 10% of the tree's diameter, for example, roughly 2 inches on a 20-inch tree. Choose whether to use a straight-back conventional cut or a boring cut. Both cuts should be made in line with the closed end of the notch, known as the V. A conventional cut is made from the back of the tree toward the hinge. It's a straightforward technique that works well for most trees. For trees with a hard lean, first make your notch, then bore the center of the tree a couple of inches behind the hinge. From there, work the cut back toward your strap or tag end to maintain control of the tree during the fall.
And the notch that he's putting in, that's the direction that he wants the tree to go. That's his conventional notch right there. Now he's going to start his back cut. And right now he's just scribing the side of the tree so he can get that line to where he needs to keep the bar. He needs to stay above that notch.
A boring cut begins at the hinge and plunges inward toward the center of the tree. This method helps prevent splitting or barber chairing by removing the center wood first and keeping material attached at the back until the cut is complete. Using a long enough bar makes the process easier, allowing you to bore in just behind the hinge and push the bar out the opposite side at the same point. High RPMs on the saw are essential when making this cut. Because of the precision and control required, this technique should only be performed by a highly experienced operator.
On this one, he's made a notch and he's boring in through the side of the tree near his hinge, and then he's going to walk the bar back. That way, if the tree was bad or would decide to go, it's got a hard lean to it. He's taking the center out so that tree can't barber chair or anything like that and get him.
If a tree is leaning heavily in an unsafe direction, don't try to force it to fall where it doesn't naturally want to go. Instead, use a bucket truck to remove the limbs first and then take the trunk down in controlled sections. Highly experienced cutters may use wedges or other mechanical methods to counter the lean, but attempting this without proper training can be extremely dangerous.
The biggest thing to keep in mind is if you just don't feel comfortable about a certain cut, just walk away. Walk away. We have a contract. We can call in professionals that have bigger, better equipment to do the work.
Safe chipper operation is just as important as safe cutting. Depending on the job, crews may haul logs away in lengths they can safely manage. However, when a chipper is available, it's typically best to chip branches and logs on site. Always check the manufacturer's specifications to confirm the maximum log diameter the chipper can handle. Stand to the side of the infeed chute, not directly behind it, and step away once the rollers take hold. Walk parallel on the side of the chipper toward the truck. Never turn around and walk toward the material being fed into the chipper. After placing the limb on the infeed table, move forward and step out of the area to stay clear of the kickback zone. If a limb or trunk is bent or crooked, it may swing sharply to the left or right as the feed rollers pull it into the chipper. Staying out of this path helps prevent being struck by the sudden movement of the wood. Know the chipper's safety features and how to activate them quickly. The feed control bar stops the feed rollers if clothing or a branch gets caught. Whenever the chipper is in use, assign someone to stand at the emergency stop controls and monitor the crew in case anyone becomes entangled. Never push short material with hands or feet. Instead, use a push stick or another branch to feed short limbs. Shut down the machine immediately if you notice changes in sound, vibration, or feeding speed. If the side-mounted emergency buttons or the feed control bar at the rear of the chipper are not working, the chipper must be red tagged and taken out of service until repaired. Chaps, especially open back styles or loose clothing, must not be worn while feeding the chipper. Regular maintenance is essential for safe chipper and chainsaw operation. Rain days are good opportunities to clean and grease equipment, inspect chipper knives, and service saws. If the chipper starts producing longer chips than normal, the knives may be dull or worn and need replacement. Before any maintenance can begin, always shut off the chipper and perform a lockout, tag-out procedure. When installing new knives, they must be torqued to the manufacturer's specifications. Only qualified and authorized personnel should perform maintenance on internal chipper parts. Some models have removable drum springs. This allows crews to take tension off the feeder drums to remove severe blockages. Your chipper may have a door under the drums that flips down to allow debris to fall out of the feeder area. Tree trimming is a routine part of ODOT's work, but it is never a routine task. Every cut, every inspection, and every step in the work zone matters. By following established procedures, watching out for hidden hazards, and communicating clearly, crews protect themselves, their co-workers, and the traveling public.